Don't leave me hanging. It's go time.
We have drewbie here as the red Terran on the bottom right spawn for Shakuras Plateau. This is game 3 in a best-of-5 series with his mortal enemy, at least for this series. Evil Genius's Axslav. He's the light blue Protoss up here in the top left corner of MLG Shakuras Plateau, and this version of the map does have destructible back rocks. And I'm sorry for people saying that the quality of the cast is low. I don't have any super awesome internet, so you know, until I move somewhere with Fios, I'm really not going to be able to get much better quality than this. I apologize, but I am frapsing all the games for YouTube VODs on youtube.com/AskJoshy, and those will be in 720p, so keep an eye out for those shortly after the series wraps up, probably later tonight, maybe tomorrow, depending on what I can get done. But Axslav up here in the top left corner, drewbie down in the bottom right. These are basically the only possible spawns there could have been. They can only get cross position on this MLG version of the map here with the back rocks. You cannot get back rock positions, I should say. Horizontal or vertical positions are impossible, so it is effectively a two-player map. Drewbie could effectively do another proxy barracks and know exactly where Axslav is. 967 viewers on the live stream now. Thank you all for coming to watch this. Not sure what else is going on the live streams tonight, but I appreciate it very much. Thank you all for showing up. We are going to be doing this for the next 4 weeks as well. drewbie is going to be pitted against some of the best players in North America as they are available. I'm going to keep asking people on my friends list until someone finally gives in, but they are playing for $50 tonight, just donated by a lovely person who had 50 extra bucks and said, I want to see some StarCraft 2. And if you have extra money and you want to see some show matches, send me a PM on youtube.com. Of course, I'm not going to be able to get any Korean players. My European contacts are kind of limited, but I'll at least be able to give you a yes or no. And people like Idra and Kiwikaki, they don't play show matches for the most part unless it's a lot of money, so don't even really try to waste your time there. So just saying, they make a lot of money elsewhere. They don't play unless they really think it's worth it. So either way, back to Shakuras Plateau between drewbie and Axslav. We do have an SCV finally scouting here from drewbie. Not sure what he's going to actually see when he gets in here. Just the standard Protoss build so far with that Cybernetic core just now completing. If we look at the Harvester tab, we see 21 Harvesters already from Axslav, spending every ounce of Chrono Boost on those probes until this first Stalker, so he can get that SCV killed off. Good pylon placement here, watching for drops or Reapers or anything of the sort. What is drewbie going to be able to see? I don't think Axslav is going to drop any additional tech until this SCV is safely out of his base, and he is taking his exit cues now. Drewbie, however, is doing a pretty quick expand over here with a bunker and a couple of Marines, so he is going to play an economic game, perhaps for the first time in this series, throwing up barracks numbers 2 and 3 here in the back. Surprised he's not actually just walling off here at the front. Actually, that's pretty interesting to me. There's no reason why he shouldn't just do racks all along the side. He even has room for those add-ons. Sometimes that can be a pain in the butt if you're on this top right spawn because your add-ons are kind of exposed, but this spawn position should be pretty easy to do that. Axslav pokes up the ramp here with just a Zealot and a Stalker. Not going to find anything too interesting. Just going to be shooed away by some Marines inside of a bunker. Axslav is getting up his Nexus now as well. drewbie should be catching up on economy here soon, especially with a second Mule coming from this orbital command in just a moment. The gas income is still 0. You still working off of 0 gas, drewbie. That is pretty interesting. We're already about 6 minutes in, soon to be 6 minutes in, and all he has is 4 racks and 2 orbital commands. When will he build a refinery? Go ahead and guess in the chat which minute he will build a refinery, and we'll see who is correct and who is wrong. But second base here for Axslav about to finish up, and we just broke 1,000 viewers, so thanks again to everybody watching from Team Liquid, Reddit, Twitter, YouTube, wherever you found this. Wellplayed.org also has a stream in bed. Go check out wellplayed.org and show me some love on there as well if you even know what that is. Go give it a look if you don't know what it is. But Axslav taking some heavy gunfire here on his poor Zealot, and he needs to run away, or he is going to die. 2 more HP left on that little guy. Headed up to the Zelnaga Tower. Don't go up there. There's nowhere to run up there. One Marine could go up there and end that Zealot's life. He actually did kill a probe there on the way as well. 4 refineries coming up, and it was minute 6, so if you guessed minute 6, you are absolutely correct. Axslav, this Zealot, is not going to survive much longer, doesn't even get a shot to attack a Marine, but check that out, drewbie. What are you going to be doing with 4 refineries now that you're starting to get some gas? I would imagine a tech lab and some stim packs would be in order, eventually working your way up to medevacs as well, but this could just be another all-in from drewbie trying to kill off his opponent right in the early game. 3 Marines getting pinned in there. Good move by Axslav, and I will throw up the names because I totally forgot until just now. Good scan to kill an observer. A little bit of investment lost there for Axslav. A little bit of investment lost for drewbie, losing those 3 Marines. These sentries do not have enough energy for a Guardian Shield, but they do have enough for some more force fields, so we'll have to see how he chooses to spend that force field juice. Stalker running away. There is a destructible rock over here, but there's basically nowhere else for him to really go. drewbie tries pressing up the ramp again. Surprised no more force fields came down there. He probably could have snagged another 3 or 4. Never mind that. That is just really annoying when that pop-up happens right during the middle of a cast. Axslav losing a Stalker, almost killing a Marine. Not quite. Let's look back at the harvester count here. 43 for Axslav, 40 for drewbie. Might get another little engagement here. These stalkers are so fast. Force fields might be quick enough to actually sever these Marines, but I think... Whoa, what's happening, drewbie? Are you committing? Are you not committing? You're going to lose Marines if you're wishy-washy like that. You might just want to run all the way home. These stalkers... Oh, force field dropped in the dark almost. Did not quite manage to snag any of those Marines. Let's get the production tab back up and see a factory coming down for drewbie, stim pack, and +1 weapons coming for all of his lovely barracks units. Why did he salvage the bunker? The bunker is no longer there, so drewbie actually naked here at this point when Axslav coming up here with a lot of units. Scan goes down, kills an observer, but hey, there's a lot of army here you need to be focusing down as well. Force fields go down kind of weird spots. They do actually manage to pin out 2 Marauders, so I can't really criticize them too much for that. drewbie pulling some SCVs off the line should be able to hold this if it came to blows, but it looks like Axslav is content with the damage that he did deal. Units lost, we see drewbie slightly behind Axslav, but really not anything to write home about. Robotics Bay and Facility number 2 coming along for Axslav. Not sure what he's going to be doing out of there, except maybe some double Colossi, playing against that heavy Marine build that drewbie started with, and now just mass bio. We have 4 tech labs up, and a starport is being built directly onto that reactor, and another reactor being built here by this factory, and another starport, so maybe he'll have 2 reactored starports with a boatload of bio. Axslav, on the other hand, does not have really a forge for upgrades, I don't believe. I haven't seen him do any upgrades yet. I'm going to double check with a quick scan over his base. Nope, no forges that I can place there. Let's see how long he waits before he presses in here. drewbie actually sitting at 0-0 still. No bunkers, just a missile turret. Not sure if he's worried about air or Dark Templar, but either way, turrets are good for repelling both. Sends out an SCV real quick just to get totally mauled by a lot of stalkers and sentries. drewbie getting prepared here, waiting patiently with his 1-0 upgraded bio. They have all of their tech lab upgrades. That is actually a pretty stout force that he's got there. Let's look at just plain army value. Axslav pulling way ahead in gas value. Does he have any Colossi done? No, he's got 2 in production right now, though, and extended thermal lances being researched, which, of course, will be a great boon to him once it is done against all these bio units. And to Immortals coming out now as well to deal with these Marauders. I like that move. drewbie is starting to get some Vikings out now. I, of course, predicted mass medevacs, but he is getting 2 at a time of each of those units. Interesting stuff. The medevacs, of course, going to be a huge supplement to this mass bio army, and the Vikings, of course, will be able to focus down any Colossi. Let's take drewbie vision real quick and take a look at Axslav's base. He does see essentially everything that's going on. He just scanned, saw those double forges and the Twilight Council. He does not know about these 2 additional gateways being tacked on, but he knows that Axslav has a lot of production. He's also taking a 3rd base now. drewbie should probably start thinking about that as well. Perhaps building a command center over here on the left side of his base and maybe floating it down here to the happy face or down here to the plausible 3rd. Of course, Axslav does have an observer just patrolling around, making sure drewbie isn't expanding without him knowing about it. Harvester count, 72 for Axslav, 54 for drewbie. If we look at just flat-out supply, drewbie's only 5 behind, so the fact that all those harvesters are there means that drewbie's army value should be pretty friggin' scary. Yeah, lots and lots of mineral value there, not quite as much on gas. But check that out, Dark Shrine and a Templar Archive coming along for Axslav. I would not be surprised if we ended up seeing a mothership before the end of this game. Looks like Axslav is doing basically everything that Protoss players can do, and drewbie is sticking to MMM with some Viking power added on. Here comes a command center for drewbie, finally adding that on. Soon he will be able to expand again. Don't know if he's going to want a planetary fortress out here or an orbital command back here, but we'll end up seeing, of course, with due time. Terran ship weapons level 1 coming along, so these Vikings are going to be super duper strong here soon. Building another turret in the middle of the map, I kind of like that, just for some added map vision. This factory not doing anything. He does not want any tanks, Hellions, or Thors up in this game, so he's just going to sack this factory, taking a look around. Axslav does see it with an observer, of course. He's got observers actually kind of all over the place here. I like that Axslav has a lot of map vision. A scan goes down on this third. Oh, there is a drop in the back. Oh my goodness. drewbie actually did manage to kill a building and get out of there. I apologize for that. drewbie has just been so quiet so far in this game, not moving out of his base at all until just now, and he did lure all those army units. Oh no, he needs a scan right now. There are 2 DTs cleaving up his Marauders and Marines. There they go, though. Great scan there. Oh, you need to focus down. There you go. The last DT, and then the Nexus falls. And Axslav trying to group all of his units here. He has a ton of Gateway units and those 2 Immortals in there as well. 3 High Templar. They do not have Psionic Storm research. Blink is coming out, though, of that Twilight Council. drewbie now splitting all his forces as best he can. Lots of Vikings headed over to the mineral line there and landing his main army headed back through the destructible rocks. He says, you forgot to make Colossus. He was making 2 at a time earlier. I think he must have canceled them. Not sure what happened. Maybe he saw the many Vikings and decided, you know what, no more Colossi, only Immortals. And all these Vikings here being ripped to shreds. drewbie actually could have gotten out of there, but instead is going to lose a lot of supply in Vikings. He does have 2 Marauders and a medevac hanging out back here, but I'm not sure what he's going to be able to actually do with it. Check this out. We do have movement speed of Warp Prisms, that gravitic drive upgrade coming along. Oh, the medevac providing vision for the 2 Marauders on the low ground, going to be able to kill a pylon if nothing else. Still a nice little pickup there, 100 mineral value. DT warps in on the low ground, though, and chops those Marauders into pieces, so drewbie not being too effective with that low ground snipe there. His main army headed through the main of his base. He does have 4 medevacs there to get those guys healed back up. This turret and bunker wall going down in the middle of the map, making sure drewbie is segregating the map in case he wants to take another base over here at some point, which he could actually consider doing right now. Supply favoring drewbie. Army value should be favoring drewbie. It is in mineral count, but not gas. Psionic Storm about to complete here, +1/+1 upgrades for Axslav about to finish up as well. Gravitic Drive is almost finished, so I'm going to have to keep my eyes open once again for this Warp Prism, starting to warp in now, but it flipped into phasing mode and then just died, so Axslav not quite fast enough with the fingers to get a DT down or anything like that. Let's look at the APM, just glance at it real quick. We'll see 137 average against 93 average for Axslav. Notoriously slightly lower APM for our former Warcraft 3 player, I already mentioned that, but you know, it's worth noting every now and again. Turret already up in the mineral line, taking that observer out, not bad at all. The scouting floating fat factory coming out in front of these ghosts. Nice. drewbie has added some ghosts into his army here. He wants to get these EMPs down as soon as he possibly can, but ghost number 1 goes down, ghost number 2 goes down without any EMPs. drewbie stimming away. Oh my god, the storms just crushing everything. You can see all those Marines I just had highlighted are now dead. Now I'm going to go ahead and try and double click all these remaining Marauders, but that supply swing just now, Axslav up by 46 supply now, just with a couple of really sweet storms. Axslav most likely going to be able to take this game now. drewbie still could try something clever, but I believe if Axslav just counterattacked now, it would probably be GG. drewbie trying to remax right now, getting 2 Marauders and 2 Marines. He is not broke by any means. He needs more production structures, though, to be able to basically act like the Terran form of Zerg and get back up to 200 as fast as he possibly can. We do have an Archon over here as well. This High Templar with 3 kills of his own. That turret is going to stand no chance against this huge army. drewbie does have a large contingent in the back here, but that means that they are not over at his natural. So Axslav basically dropping the hammer here. I would expect drewbie to lose this orbital command very quickly and eventually a lot more buildings. But drewbie is going to try and do a little bit of a counterattack, breaking down those destructible rocks. Headed into Axslav's main, trying to kill off some pylons first, then did actually cancel a lot of warpins there. Actually did not unpower any of these gateways, though, just canceled those warp-ins. That was kind of interesting. Axslav is actually pulling back to come defend against this instead of just trying to smash through drewbie's undefended base. I think just the warp-ins and the Blinkstalkers here might be enough to actually take out all the rest of these Marauders. DT's being warped in as well, making drewbie use scans that he doesn't have, or at least forcing him to try to use scans that he doesn't have. Now the game is way in Axslav's favor after killing off the remainder of drewbie's army. All he has left is this tiny-looking contingent in relation to Axslav's army. That's basically everything drewbie has here, so if Axslav moves quickly, he could get right back to stomping around inside of drewbie's undefended base, killing off all these production structures. We'll see how long it takes him, or if they do another major engagement, or what. Axslav is now starting to take his upside-down smiley face expansion. Should be safe, I believe, since drewbie doesn't really have a whole lot. Oh, wow, look at all those SCVs in one cluster. That is a ton of SCVs right there. That's a page and a bit. And this DT is going to get a ton of kills here. Just 5, 6. And we do have another engagement going on over here. A couple of DTs warped in. Archons being made. This is all that drewbie has left in this game. So once the Colossi show up, and another High Templar back there as well, if he can drop a 6 Storm. Actually, he doesn't even need to. I saw some feedbacks going down on some medevacs, but drewbie GG's. Axslav is going to take a quick 2-1 lead. Not a quick 2-1 lead, a relatively well-paced 2-1 lead, but that's going to be it for Game 3. Now it is once again drewbie's pick. We'll see which map he chooses for Game 4.